I'm very happy to now call on the stage Beatrice Ferrari and Bea Albermann, if you'd like to join me here. We have had a conversation that has been looking globally and internationally at, and locally as well, at all these questions. And we are very happy to be able to ground the end of the day into our reality here in Switzerland. And I think a lot of what has been said in the panel just before resonates with this, as well as the fact that we're very happy to have both a representative from the Canton de Genève and from the, let's say, the youth activist community at large. So I'm very happy to welcome Beatrice Ferrari, who is Director of the International Affairs Direction of the Canton de Genève, and Dr. Bea Albermann, a medical doctor and planetary health advocate. So we're going to take a few minutes with you to wrap up the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs. Je vais dire quelques mots en français aussi pour conclure cette journée. C'est un plaisir pour moi de m'adresser à vous en clôture de cette journée qui a été intense, mais aussi très enrichissante, avec beaucoup de points. Je ne suis pas sûre de pouvoir résumer quoi que ce soit. Je viens en fait avec beaucoup plus de questions que de conclusions, je dirais. Mais je remercie vraiment aussi le Climate Action Accelerator de l'invitation et de donner l'opportunité aussi au canton de Genève que je représente de partager quelques réflexions en conclusion. Je crois que le défi, et ça c'est clair, de revoir nos modes opératoires pour mieux protéger notre planète et nous-mêmes, hein, on fait partie intégrante de cette planète, est immense. On a envie parfois d'être découragé, on l'a entendu, on a parlé de pessimisme juste avant, mais aussi d'émotion, aussi d'espoir et aussi d'action. Donc c'est aussi ça que je retiens de cette journée, face à tous les défis, l'épuisement des ressources, les risques, l'instabilité politique financière. On a un besoin de s'ajuster à un véritable nouveau paradigme. Et puis je crois aussi qu'en tant qu'acteurs de l'aide humanitaire, de la coopération internationale, on subit les effets du changement climatique en tant qu'individu, en tant qu'organisation, parce que les populations avec lesquelles on travaille ont des besoins qui changent, mais aussi qu'en tant qu'organisation qui est confrontée à un certain défi de résilience. Donc on est obligé de trouver des solutions durables. Je pense que seules des solutions collectives vont pouvoir amplifier nos efforts. On peut faire chacun un effort, mais c'est aussi vraiment en travaillant ensemble qu'on va pouvoir trouver des solutions durables. Et je me réjouis en fait de voir ici aussi une grande diversité d'acteurs, des organisations internationales, la société civile, le politique, le secteur privé, l'académique. Donc on est tous ici pour travailler ensemble, et je pense que c'est aussi ça qui est porteur d'espoir et d'action. Et je félicite vraiment aussi le Climate Action Accelerator avec lequel on travaille en tant que canton depuis 2022 déjà, pour cette 3e édition de la conférence, qui est vraiment très réussie et qui est devenue aussi un événement incontournable ici à Genève pour réfléchir à la décarbonation du secteur humanitaire. Je salue aussi la diversification des partenariats du Climate Action Accelerator, qui inclut maintenant à la fois la santé, l'éducation, l'aide internationale, mais les fondations travaillent ensemble pour le même objectif. Now, let me say a few words about what was concretely discussed today. It was quite a lot. But for sure, as international aid and cooperation actors, we are facing increasing needs, but also increasing constraints. Be it geopolitical instability, reduced funding, higher prices, shortages of natural resources, and more frequent environmental shocks that are examples of challenges hindering our activities. And today, I think there are three things that we have discussed in how we could transform our practices and how to generate positive climate actions, because we also need to be an example. We can't only be part of the problem. We need also to contribute to the solution. So we focused particularly on 3 topics. One was the importance of locally led initiatives and the needs of local and national stakeholders to be part also of climate action. And some of the questions that came online was also that, how can we be more inclusive in the solutions that we bring on? Second was the critical role also of grant making actors for accelerated climate action. We talked about the financial part of it at the end of the discussion today, but as a grant-making actor, we need to ensure also that we take into account the climate action in funding. And the third point was how organizations are impacted and react to by climate crisis and resource shortages, and how we work really on adaptation. We must be sure also collectively that climate action remains a priority. We talked a little bit about politics that is changing. We have a good, I mean, there is an incentive to do something now, but at the same time, we know that the political context might be difficult. We need to integrate all these climate and resilience action into all the activities, but mostly grant makers need to support also climate actions and ensure they are considered really also in all funded projects. Here in Geneva, we can contribute, I think, as a community. We are here a unique ecosystem. You know, we talk about innovation ecosystem around the world. We might think, you know, about tech ecosystem, but here we're something more perhaps than that, because we have values, we have ideas, we have inclusiveness, because we have a lot of different stakeholders represented. And while we may not think about ourselves at this community as being a place where we find solution and really truly work collectively for innovation, but also for defending some values that we have, I think we really have a good ecosystem to try to provide some of the solutions. And as a canton, we also support some of the climate-oriented initiatives that are here in Geneva, but also abroad. We supported different projects, of course, the Climate Action Accelerator, but also Médecins Sans Frontières with its transition. Here in Geneva, I quote also the 2050 Today with Jean-Pierre present here, that is also pushing local representations here in international Geneva to transform. As a canton, as a local authority, we also declared a climate emergency in 2019. That was also a good point, you know, to push for that agenda, aiming for carbon neutrality by 2050 with a 60% reduction in emission by 2030. Must admit that won't be easy, let's be honest, but it's still giving, you know, an aim and really trying to push and having measures, including biodiversity, including equity in vulnerable neighborhoods, for example, to strengthen also climate justice. And also I think here in Geneva, with this unique mix of global and local expertise, we want to be also a testing ground for solution, to try new things and enhance the preparedness that was mentioned. So as a conclusion, comme le titre de l'événement le suggérait, le temps presse. It's time for action, right? I've been in a couple of events recently about climate change, and you know, people start being fed up with just talks. They just ask for action, and we have to do it. Et je pense que nous avons tous la responsabilité d'essayer d'apporter une réponse à ces enjeux globaux. Ici, comme je le disais, la Genève internationale peut jouer un rôle de plateforme pour stimuler une action climatique qui soit coordonnée, qui soit transversale, efficace, réfléchie, mais aussi inclusive. On a aussi un rôle de garder ça sur l'agenda politique et d'essayer le secteur de l'aide, hein, qui n'a pas toujours été exemplaire, de justement mieux intégrer ces questions pour traiter les symptômes tout en évitant de contribuer aussi lui-même à la problématique. Je termine quand même sur une note positive, hein, c'est ce que j'ai entendu aussi dans cette fin de journée, qu'on a envie d'être positive, on a envie de remettre des émotions et de trouver des actions, et je suis convaincue vraiment que si on unit nos forces, on pourra accélérer l'action climatique et vraiment servir de manière plus efficace et plus durable, au fond, les populations pour lesquelles nous travaillons, y inclus nous-mêmes. Voilà, merci pour votre attention. Thank you.
Good evening. So I have the very easy task to, I guess, give a message of hope for everyone leaving tonight, because that's usually what like the youth is expected to do, right? We're 50% of the global population are under 30. And usually it's people look at us who are above the age of 30 and say, yeah, it's very good that you spread this message of hope. And I don't know about you, but today, listening at some of the facts, I first get really angry talking about emotions. I sit there and I get frustrated, I get angry, and I also get tired. I think most of you have been in this wild ocean of climate action, climate justice for quite a while, and it's not a very flat sea. It's quite a rough sea, and we're not in the same boat. We're all navigating our different boats, trying to go with the winds and changing our narratives and adapting and trying to take the course towards climate justice and towards health for all and a healthy future within the planetary boundaries. In this work, I often feel tired and I feel angry. I don't have the audacity to think that I can give you hope. I think hope is something we need to construct all ourselves. I think we need to do it across generations. My hope in Switzerland this year came from the elderly woman, as mentioned, who sued the Swiss government already in 2016, and they won. The European Court of Human Rights decided that the Swiss government is violating human rights with their climate inaction, because we're saying inaction is the problem. We have the lawsuit saying that they're violating human rights, and now it's up to the Swiss government, which means also the cantonal government, and also I'm a medical doctor, I'm working for a public hospital, so it's also my responsibility that we are stepping up climate action. But the Swiss Federal Council 2 weeks ago decided that they're doing enough, that they won't change anything in their climate politics. So when talking about changing the narrative and linking health and climate, after today, I really feel that we all understand that we need to break the dichotomy of human versus nature, that we need to defend nature, but we are nature defending itself. Our life depends on our environment. There are not even boundaries. Like with all the bacteria that live on our skin, in our stomach, in our intestines, everywhere, there are no boundaries in this dichotomy. It's just artificial. So how to move onwards from today? I can just share my personal story and my personal vision for a future that I would like to live in. I would love to see how everyone tries to follow this indigenous saying that we need to live in a way that the next 7 generations can live in the same way that we are, because I think that's the best insurance for sure if we follow this. And we heard a lot of, like in the climate, I was at COP, I was in a lot of climate negotiations, and a lot of the discussions still follow a track of green growth. And the story that is being told is that, oh, we just need to go to net zero, to the renewables, and then it's a very nice life. But that's not the truth. We need to be honest. When I hear growth, infinite growth, as a doctor, I think of cancer. This is not healthy. So we need to respect really the limits of growth. And this, we know already since the report limits to growth since 72. So we know it. We cannot continue green growth. We need solutions where we need to degrow. So the solutions I want to see are feminist solutions, decolonial solutions, and post-growth solutions. Because also, we cannot have any sustainable healthcare system if most of the care work is still being done by unpaid women. If 80% of the people displaced by the climate crisis are women, and those are not the people taking the decisions. So when we say we are on it, yeah, we're all on it. I feel we have this polycrisis like a patient in front of us, and everyone is saying, yeah, we're moving, but most of us are still moving in slow motion. Or some of us, mostly governments, are walking outside of the room, but we're all the emergency team. And some have more power than others. So it's important to name who has power and who's blocking those decisions. And I was working on the National Planetary Health Strategy, and I can tell you the people, it's not just that the doctors won't move, that the doctors just don't want to educate the medical students, that we've been trying, the youth has been trying, that we're learning this, and that where it's put on a national agenda, but the people in decision-making are white, able-bodied, cis men who are quite rich and who put profit over people. So I think it's important to name who's blocking the decisions, who's blocking climate action, and to name this, because it's not just the world we want to change, but it's also the people who are blocking this action that we need to name and mobilize the masses who are not in power. So as my message for today, maybe you live today and think, okay, how can I use this anger or this tiredness that I'm sometimes feeling in my work? And which point can I be a bit more radical, or where in my work do I not have feminist or young voices or decolonial voices or people who are actually trying to use a post-growth, a degrowth perspective? And this is an invitation because I think we're all in. We have this vision, we have this one planet, and we all strive towards a future. So let's go.
Well, thank you so much. So I think we're all ready to get to move from slow motion to speed motion to get a nice cocktail now. Bruno, you would like to say a word, maybe? No.
Yeah, I'd like to thank all of you, and actually, I'd like also to provide a message of hope, because since starting this initiative, what we see is actually the tremendous leverage organizations have on the problem. And it's not just about political decisions nor individual decisions, but collective organizations which actually, are consuming goods, planning activities, etc., have immense powers to actually change things. And what we need front runners. We need front runners who actually show this change. And politicians move, but politicians don't move against society. So they move when actually there's a critical mass of both people, organizations, stakeholders who actually show the way. And what generally politicians do is then they take these practices and they generalize them at the level of society. And I think that's what we're all trying to contribute to. And so just to say, everybody in this room has power and can use it. Thank you.